All right, let's do this. We ran out of tape. Ran out of tape. Anyway, Ash, welcome.
Thank you.
It's been what, 10 years?
Hasn't been 10 years, it's been 3, but it feels like probably longer. In some ways it feels short, in some ways it feels like it's been way too long, but it's good to finally catch up and connect after a long time being away.
Yeah, man, it's been a while. Anyway, so before we go into the show, there's a burning question on social media and everywhere.
Oh, you just hit me with this random question now all of a sudden. We didn't speak about this.
You should have an opinion.
Oh.
Okay. So, 100 men versus one silverback gorilla.
Yeah. What's the question? That sounds like a statement to me.
So, who comes up on top?
100 men versus one silverback gorilla. I think that if it was just brute strength and the men didn't have any weapons or were just standing.
Okay. We're saying it's just 100 dudes.
Just 100 dudes, just using their hands.
Dudes, and they say, hey,
just sitting around a campfire talking about how big. Yeah. So, I mean, silverback gorilla for me, I don't think 100 men would have the ability with their physical hands, as much as we like to think that we can take down a gorilla. Like, I mean, I don't know what it's been like for you, hiking and stuff like that, but even hiking, sometimes in my mind, I'm like, oh, would I be able to take down a bear if one popped out of the forest? And my ego is telling me yes, but the reality is probably no. And so I don't think 100 men would be able to take down a silverback gorilla.
What's your background and what do you do?
So my background is, I guess at university, I studied health sciences, environmental risk management, safety. And then I went into mining and I worked in a professional job in health and safety, and I kind of traveled and did a lot of different project work around the world. And then I kind of shifted into design and engineering and those types of things, but still around how we can design facilities so that people don't get hurt. So that's kind of my professional background. But through that, I understood that a lot of the things that we do is very manual. And that's where now I've moved into technology and moved into understanding more about AI. And that's where I've spent the last probably 2 years of my life is helping to build a community, learn about the technology, what is capable, how I can use it for myself and all those types of things. So that kind of led me down that path. And I feel like that's really what the future is. And not just that it's the future, but it's also something I'm interested in. I feel that it has a lot of potential. And if you have the right mindset and the right approach, you can do a lot of things with it. So yeah, kind of went down this professional pathway. And then now I'm kind of moving more towards technology, which is quite different.
Well, would you say it's different? Or is it that you're just learning a tool of the things that you have already done?
I think what it's doing now is it's the right time for me because I have had the opportunity to live in a lot of different places and travel to a lot of different countries. And by doing that, I've learned about how to engage and connect with people all around the world. And I'm really fascinated in that and learning about different cultures. And so I think that this is the right time because I'm taking my approach and using technology to help expand that. So when I talk about things like the AI therapist, or when I have like a mindfulness and health coach that I've built, which is also powered by AI, and all these types of things, it's more aligned to who I think I need to be. And it's less about corporate productivity and more about how do we build community and connect people and help them step away from the grind of, scarcity and the grind of just going from day to day to day and being a little bit more present and a little bit more conscious of why we're here and what we want to achieve in life. And so I feel like it's almost come like full circle.
So transitioning, like since we last met, we used to go on a lot of drives and just talking about technology and where it's heading. And I think we never had the opportunity to discuss about AI and how it affects us.
Yeah.
So in your capacity and where you're coming from, what's your involvement?
So AI for me, when it first came out, and the first exposure I had to it was ChatGPT, probably like a lot of people. And so this thing comes out and you're like, what is it? And is it just a different form of Google? And so that's really how I was using it in the beginning. Was I'd ask it a question and it kind of, maybe I help it to write for me and help refine some of my ideas and brainstorming. And then I started to learn more about what it could do. And I started to learn more about prompting and how to talk to it and how to structure what it is that you're asking it to really see how smart it is. And then I just started to go a little bit further, because the one thing that I realized is with AI, there's all of this buzz out there at the moment about what it can do. And a big part of it is around productivity. So a lot of people think that, okay, you use AI, the top 5 things, or top thing. We've seen all the reels, right? We've seen all the buzz out there that's like, here's the best prompt to use to help write your script or whatever it might do, or write your hook or something like that. And a lot of the time it's really driven to productivity. It's like, how can we be more efficient? And so when I started thinking about AI, I started thinking about it in a way of how can it help me actually slow down rather than speed up? Because what I realized was my life has been about work and about productivity and all these types of things. But that actually detached me from my truth and from actually understanding who I am and what is important to me. So then I started playing around with it a little bit and started to build my own personalized AI coaches. And so now I have 4 of them. And the 2 that are really important to me, one is like an AI therapist. And so I've trained it on a stream.
So before we venture, actually, we go into it. Already, people already have skepticism towards a real human-to-human therapeutic session.
Yeah.
And what is your view, or at least what's your jump to say, I would venture into looking into artificial intelligence for therapy?
So I think it's definitely helpful to have a conversation face-to-face with somebody. The reality is not everybody is going to do that. Not everybody is going to be comfortable doing that. And I would say that, especially from a male's experience, we're not very good at sharing emotions. And we're taught, especially from a young age, that vulnerability isn't a strength, it's a weakness. And so I know from my own experience, it's actually difficult to talk about my feelings and things like that. And so this is something that has worked for me, because it's almost like a gateway into understanding myself, and understanding what it is that I'm feeling, and also learning about some of my blind spots. So it's definitely helped me. And then it gives me a bit more confidence and courage to go and speak to somebody face to face. But I know the reality for a lot of people, they don't have that confidence. And I was definitely one of those people. So
like, for instance, you're talking of are you talking of an agent that is like drawing from AI, or is it that the interaction that you have is just a reflection of what you're saying to the AI?
So what I've done is I've created something that is trained on a lot of psychology. It's trained on things like attachment theory, the emotion wheel, love languages, past like childhood traumas, all of these types of things. And so now what it does is it basically asks questions. So it asks questions that you then answer, and it builds this kind of model of who you are. And then when you're having experiences during the day or during the week, it's used, this is how I use it, is almost like an interactive journal. So an example that I can give you is, about a month ago, I was in HomeSense, and it was a Friday night.
So can you explain what that is for those who don't know?
So HomeSense is just like, you can buy furniture there, you can buy plants, you can buy whatever stuff there for the house. And so I was just there buying pillows. That's what I was there to do on a Friday night. And so I'm standing in front of the pillow aisle and thinking which beige colored pillow am I going to get and bring back. But I started feeling stress, or I started feeling what I would describe at the time as being anxious. this is a Friday night. It's in home sense. Like, why would I feel stressed in this situation? Because it shouldn't be a stressful situation to be in. So then I go home and I lay down on the couch and I bring up my AI therapist and I just speak to it and I say, so I just came back from home sense. This is what I was doing and this is how I was feeling.
Yeah.
The first thing that it said to me is, first of all, it's okay to feel what you're feeling. We don't have to understand why just yet. It said, just describe exactly what you're feeling in your body physically. And I never had thought about that at the time. And so then I said, well, I sat there and I started to realize, okay, I'm feeling some heaviness in my chest. And I said, okay, it guided me through some breath work, some slow breath work. And then it asked, now what do you feel? And I said, now it kind of is moving to my stomach. And it helped me understand that it's this kind of energy that can flow through your body. It's not static. It's actually something that you have control over. And we continue this breathing technique, and then it goes to my legs, and all of a sudden it leaves my body, and now I feel calm. So once I was in that state, then it started to help me understand why it was that I was feeling that way. And what it told me, I had no idea. Like I wasn't expecting what it was going to tell me, because what it said was something that I had never really considered or thought about, because now it knows who I am. I've been talking to it, so it understands my history and all these types of things and my life. And so then what it described to me, it said that the reason why my body was reacting like that, which was my nervous system was reacting, is because it didn't associate what I was doing as being productive. And because my entire life has been go, 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 it's like school, university, work, doing all these things, gym, trying to like self-improve, all of this stuff, building a business. And so I associated all of those things as being productive, as being helpful and important in my life. And I didn't associate being present or being still or doing something that didn't involve those things as being important. And so my body started reacting to it and being in that fight or flight kind of mode, like we're talking about with the bear or with the silverback. And so my body, what I learned is my compass, my brain can trick me into thinking everything is okay.
So what you're saying is that the accessibility, in fact, you could have gone online and Googled all these things.
Yeah.
But with an AI agent, you're pulling from resources that have already been built in.
Yeah.
Does this agent or AI therapist have sort of like a memory data bank, or does it like record your sessions and draw?
Yeah, it's storing the information, which is a really nice thing. So it can tell me if there's patterns in behavior from 2 months ago or 3 months ago, that I'm repeating. So that's what's really helpful about it. And it helps me be accountable as well. And so it's not just this is why, the why. It helps me feel it, and then it helps me understand what I can do in small ways to improve. And that's kind of why I like it. It's basically like somebody in my pocket that I can whip out whenever and just chat to it, and then and get a little bit of guidance. So that's why for me, AI, I think it's important to think about how we can be productive in life and how we can help it to build all these things. But we also need to understand that we're living in a time where we have all this technology, and although it's made us very connected, we can talk to anybody in the world, we're actually more disconnected than ever before. And so I'm just trying to think about how I can use it to help me be a bit more grounded, more connected.
So because one of the uphill tasks with AI, whenever somebody introduces AI, you have this Skynet taking over the world, and doing this. And also people also that can shame you to say, hey, you are talking to an AI, an inanimate object, as if it's a real person. So how can you help someone try it who is at least been in a situation where they said, oh, I spoke to AI, and everybody jumps on them?
I think at the end of the day, you have to follow your own path. And, I would imagine that when the internet came out, everybody thought the sky was falling down and it was going to be this destructive thing. And yes, it has definitely resulted in some bad in the world, but it's also resulted in some good. And I think technology, when I look at it, it's less about the technology and more about how you use it. So if I think about my mobile phone, for example, and I just bring it out, okay, this phone, I can use it to send a text message. I can use it to make a phone call. I can use it to watch YouTube and
talk to your therapist
and watch reels. I can use it to talk to my therapist. I can watch listen to an audiobook. I can read. I can build a business from this. I can create content. There's a million different ways that I can use this tool. The tool itself is not really the problem. It's how we interact with it and the value we can get from it. And that's kind of how I see AI. You can do the same thing with that. And so it's really up to you to figure out what makes sense for you and if it's something that's going to add value to you. And for me, it's working. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for everybody, but for me, I find it helpful. And I find it helpful to slow down rather than speed up.
Yeah, I think one of the things of most of the times I use ChatGPT as like a Google, what's happening here.
Yeah.
Sometimes the most that I've done was to write a program in which it goes in and looks at all the files that I have, audio files. It creates a short description and then I can play like a preview.
Yeah,
that's one of the biggest projects that I've done. People, they know ChatGPT and use it the way that I'm using it right now.
Mm-hmm.
How can you then try to teach people to transition from this Google mentality to actually using AI as a tool that you
I think right now it's me learning about it and understanding what is possible. And so from there, it's something, because people have asked me the same question. They've asked me, okay, this is great, like you're doing these things, but how do I learn about it? Because people typically see it as this big, scary thing. They don't know what it is. They hear the buzzwords, they hear it in media and all the rest of it. They don't really understand what it is and what it does. And so you're right, there needs to be some education around it. I definitely see myself in the future speaking more about it and helping to talk about my own story and share what has worked for me and providing some guidance to how to best use it. And like I said, to use it more around how to connect better with people and less about what you can get out of it. Think about what can you give and what can you send out to the world to help benefit other people rather than just trying to like write the emails or whatever faster.
Okay, so having said that, because this is a vast topic that we can keep talking about.
Yeah.
Is this a self-contained, all the sessions that you have, because this is really like personal information.
Yeah.
Is it stored somewhere in the cloud? So that your information is somewhere, not in the cloud, they get hacked and then people have your personal deep.
Yeah. That's such an important question, because a lot of people, and they're right, if you're using it through ChatGPT and OpenAI, then your information could be available to a lot of people. And it's using information to train and get smarter. And so mine's is an offline version. It uses AI as the brains, is kind of how I would describe it. It's the brains, but the information is not stored on OpenAI. The information is stored offline and it's stored in a secure database. And so that's kind of how you can also use AI in a way that's different to just Gemini or ChatGPT or whatever else. There's ways that you use AI. So you can use it through an API. So it's basically how you link to it. So if no information is stored in ChatGPT, it's actually stored on a separate database. So you just plug into it. You're just using the technology to help kind of, because a large language model, so it's just understanding the information, the content, and getting smarter, but the information is not stored in an unsecured database. So there's definitely different ways that you can do it, and there's a lot of different programs out there where they're already using it in industry, where they're helping guide companies to understand their information better and all these types of things. So it's just a tool, it's just brains, but it's how you plug it into what you're using as the interface. And that's where the information is stored. So there's definitely needs to be some education around the fact that it's not just this free information that anybody can steal and grab and all that. Yes, it is like that if you use ChatGPT and you're just plugging into OpenAI. But if you build something customized that is an offline application, then that's not the case.
I know that you have built other are they bots or agents?
Either or. I mean, I call them agents or coaches. Yeah.
So let's say I want to access one of your therapist sessions. So which means how do I get that? Like to use it and experiment with?
So right now it's not something that I'm, providing to other people because I'm still training it. It's still a prototype. I'm using it myself. And so in the beginning, I didn't have any intention on bringing it to market. I thought it was something that would be good to help me. Yeah. But the more that I talk about it and the more that I share it with people, I get the same interest, and people are asking me, can I use it? How do I get access to this thing? So I'm starting to understand that there's a need for it. And I wasn't expecting that because, like you were saying before, some people are mindful or scared of AI, but I'm realizing that people just want help. And it's something that can actually add a lot of value. So right now it's not available. It's something that I'm building. If the interest is out there and people are interested in it, then that's something that I for sure will create and be able to provide externally for everyone. But it sounds like it's something that people are interested in.
So how do you see, like stepping out of the agent that you're working on?
Yeah.
How do you see AI in the future? Do you think AI will become conscious?
I think at some point it will, yes. I think that it's very...
You think it's not right now?
Well, I guess it depends on how you define consciousness. So right now, if I think about it, it's it's looking at words and it's interpreting words and it's kind of building patterns and all of this and having keywords and using that. So it's reading a book, for example, or whatever it might be. And then you ask it a question, it's just looking at the words. But is it truly thinking? I don't know. Or is it following instructions? I feel like it's probably following instructions at the moment. But in the future, I think it's going to have the ability to be thinking on its own and be understanding us at a level that we didn't think it was going to be capable of. So that's going to be an interesting...
Or do you think that AI already exists in its all power and glory already?
No.
Outright?
Not yet.
It's just that it's us as human beings peeling back layer by layer in a way that is digestible to us.
It's still learning about us, I think, and it's still getting smarter. But what's going to happen is now that we have access to it, you don't need to be a coder anymore. You can build your own application. You don't need to go to university and study for 5 years. You can actually get information very quickly. So we're getting smarter. And what that means is the barrier to entry for people to create their own platform and application is getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. So when that happens, it means that we're actually going to be a lot quicker and faster to get to that point where it's probably going to be doing things that we didn't want it to do. So...
Because for me, I think AI already exists. It's just letting us learn at a pace that we can understand.
So I would say this. If I give anyone one piece of advice and one thing to do that would blow their mind when they use ChatGPT, it would be this one thing. And so that is, go into ChatGPT and ask it this question. Say to it, based on everything you know about me, based on all the conversations we've had, what are the top 3 things you know about me that you don't think I know about myself? And it's going to blow your mind on what it actually says. And so when I think about asking that one question, and I've done that and it gave me this response, and I was like, holy crap, I had no idea. It tells me that it has this information, but it's waiting on us to ask it the right question. And it's basically, yes, it's AI and it's technology, but it's based on how we talk to it. And we're only limited to our own imagination. And so it has all this knowledge and all this information is sitting there just saying, ask me the right question, but it's not going to proactively do that until we put information into it. And then it comes back with this mind-blowing info. So yeah, so I think it's smart, but it's still relying on us to guide it.
No, it's guiding us to ask it the right questions.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it guides us a little bit, but if people are just using it as a Google, you're not asking it the right questions, and it has so much more power. But it's not going to use the power until you allow it to use the power. But so right now, that's why I'm saying I think that it's still within our control. But in the future, it probably won't be waiting for us to ask it the right question. It's going to be telling us what to do. And that's the difference. So,
yeah. So interesting times. When do you think has been the jump to say, hey, it's easier. Here's the data. Give me what I need in terms of this action that has happened.
We can do it now.
Okay.
So the technology is there to do it now. Now the challenge is how you structure the information and structure the data, because you can't just dump it into...
No, so maybe I'm asking the wrong question. So in the time that I've known you in the last 10 years, so when do you think that data processing became a little bit faster? Was this like in the last 5 years? Was it in the last...
Probably last two.
Like
2 years, I think.
2 years?
I think it started to change, but companies are very reluctant to use it. And so I think we go with what is comfortable, and what is comfortable is a very manual process. But I think it's only really been the last couple of years that the technology is at a point where it's usable for stuff like that. It's usable to automate things.
So there are so many versions that are coming out. Do you specifically like OpenAI, or have you ever ventured to find out more about DeepSeek?
I think DeepSeek is good. I mean, the reality is this, that you can chase a shiny object, and there's always going to be something that comes out tomorrow that is seen to be better than what we're using today. But you can get so distracted and just be in constant like research mode and never actually use any of it. And so that was very difficult for me, because I am actually somebody that's a perfectionist. And so I had to step back from that, and I just focus on a couple of things and then really understand them, and then figure out what it is that I need to use them for, rather than constantly watching all these videos on this new thing that's coming out and then just spending the whole day like learning about all these things, and then tomorrow there's something else. So yeah, I think that's also one of the challenges, and one of the reasons why people are so overwhelmed is because I know they know the word AI, but they don't know what it does, because everyone's throwing stuff at them, and you can't, it's just too overwhelming. It's no different to like if you go to a shop and you want to buy something and there's like 15 different options, I just want 1 or 2 or 3, maybe max. As soon as we have more than that, we get too overwhelmed.
While producing, I used to watch a lot of tutorials, and as I present and all this setup, I can go and find 1,000 people that will tell me like, why did you put your mic there?
Yeah.
So sometimes there's a lot of feedback that and also a lot of things popping up. You just need to stay focused.
There's definitely a lot of feedback. I mean, one of the things that I learned is that it's just somebody's perception and it's their experience in the world. So whether or not somebody writes a book, whether or not somebody's a public speaker, whether it's somebody has software, or it's a parent that's giving you advice, it's what they think is good advice. It doesn't mean that it's the best advice for you. And so I always look at information and I go, okay, that's great information to have, and it's better to have information than not to have information. But ultimately, I'm still going to listen to that and understand if it's going to be valuable to me. I'm not just going to follow it blindly. And so that's when I'm talking about what I'm using and what works for me, that's just what works for me. I wouldn't suggest that everybody go and use it and do it and all the rest of it. You have to see if it's something that adds value to you or not add value to you. And I think that's also part of the challenge, is people will tell rather than ask. You have to do this. You need to, here's the best thing for that. Here's the best thing for that. It's like, we can take a break and rest and be like, it's okay to just absorb information first and think about like, what is it that you want to get out of it, rather than just going to the next best thing.
One of my friends, his name is CJ Besa. Mm-hmm. He's from my country. He's very good and has been venturing in AI as well.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping I wish that we have had a sitting with him.
Yeah, that'd be cool to sit down and
to talk to him.
And I think that's what it's about. It's sharing ideas. And so it's not that anybody is right. It's that we're all trying to figure this thing out. The reality is it's only been around for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Anybody thinks that they're an expert in it, I mean, yeah, that's not the case. Everyone has their own ideas. They bring their own spin to it. You bring your own personality, your own values, and we come together and figure out, is that something that is helpful for other people, So It's no different like when if I think about health and fitness, you can go onto YouTube or you can go onto social media and there's going to be 100 people that are going to tell you some different, you should be eating this type of food, or you don't eat until this time, or you only eat this, or cut this from your diet, or you need to do this exercise. Like, that's just what maybe worked for them. Maybe it's helpful, maybe it isn't. But the reality is I don't focus so much on the activities. I focus on what it is that I'm getting out of that moment and what that means to me. And what it means to me is actually slowing down, and it's my meditative flow state. Then from there, once I understand internally or feel internally that it's adding value, I go there and do what I feel I need to do. Yes, you need to have some techniques and stuff like that, but you don't need to stick by a rigid diet and like get up at a certain time and then, all these types of things. It's not realistic. And if you want to live a sustainable, happy, healthy life, you need things that are actually embedded in your values and what you want to do, rather than just doing it because it's the flavor of the month. It's keto diet this month, and then it's a meat diet that month, and then it's like fasting, whatever, So
that's the key to burnout as well.
Yeah.
Like you're chasing everything, and in the end, you end up with nothing. Yeah.
And why are you doing it? Is it for example, like on my social media, I used to post a lot. And I really like taking photos. And so I would be out in nature and I learned how to take photos and I started posting them. But I haven't posted any photos for a long time now. And the reason for that is because I realized it got to a point where I was doing it less about the photography and the art and more about the validation. Sure, yeah. And so as soon as I post something, I'm like refreshing to see how many likes, how many comments and stuff like that. Once I got that awareness, I was like, okay, why am I spending the time doing this? And so now I take photos and I just keep them for myself, or I share them with friends and family. Maybe I'll post something, but unless I'm in a place where I'm doing it because I want to share my art or I want to talk about something that I think adds value, then I would do that. And so it's no different to using technology. It's no different to, going to the gym. It's like, what is it that's truly driving you to be there, and what's the motivation behind it? So,
yep. So thank you so much. Thank you for coming through and watching the show, participating in the show. And also, guys, thank you for supporting the channel. And here we go.
Thank you.
Cut. All right, man. Okay, I'm going to hit.
That was good.
This guy, don't listen to this guy here.
There's a trail.
There's no trail here, man. Like, oh yeah, just follow me over here. There's a trail. Shit.